Previously on Roleplay Radio.
He's throwing a temper tantrum.
Sure, no. When you ran into this chamber, which looks a lot like the main room of a church, but apart from that, the bright glow, the bright red glow that illuminates the entire room, is coming from a snarl. The snarl's hovering about 30 feet in the air, and it is up in the altar, almost like the church was built around it. We're gonna take what's down here. You are going to let us. If not, I got friends within the Redfell City Guard. All it will take is a few words from me. And your friends over in the jail, I can make sure your friends get tied to a boulder and thrown in the ocean. Just fucking test me.
I find it amusing that all of you think I planned this. For a year, I didn't have contingency plans.
How are you feeling?
Pretty great. Never better.
You listen to me.
Yep, I'm here.
Something happened to you. Something that you may not fully comprehend. If ever there comes a time where you lose your temper, please aim it in the right direction. Riff, as Fane's looking around because the room started shaking and the snarl's going brighter, he's like, what the fuck's going on? Riff sits up. And he is berserk. He's drooling, his eyes have gone purple, and so have your scales. Well, this is new. Hey, Griffin, sweetie, baby. We can talk this out, right?
And then they will yell out towards the silver troves. Listen, whatever deal they made with you, I'll make one better. I'm a silver trove. I know how these things work.
Vistra says, you think we're stupid? We know who you is. Last year, beginning of the year, an Adrian Silvertrove was meant to go into Croc Tower. And within a day, it was changed to Cos. So you ain't fooling us for shit.
And I don't want to fool you. You know what? If it comes down to it, once we get out, you can turn me in. As long as you get the rest of my friends out safely. One of them is going to die if he doesn't get out.
They look at each other.
Please. If I'm trapped down here forever, then you don't get to turn anybody in, right?
Okay, but you don't move. And whatever juice they had left, they use it to have the wall basically grab you by the arm so you can't do somatic components and pin you to the wall. You don't move. You're ours.
I understand.
And yeah, they're gonna rush in. Mistake. You get a tap on the shoulder, and that's Professor Mirsha. Can we talk away from the crowds?
Alright.
And he takes you backstage, takes you somewhere private.
She stays out of arm's reach.
You have something against me. I have noticed. And for good reason. I have kept many secrets from you. At this point, you know most of them. But I would like to still trust you with one last one.
Alright.
He's twirling his ring with the red stone on it, and I don't want to tell you. I want to show you. And you dive into that well of memories. As you are swimming through these memories, you find yourself in the Hall of Oracles, and you start hearing an argument. What are you doing here? Huh? Tiefling? Reading a book that you stole, maybe? You hear the confrontation, you hear the tiefling getting progressively angrier and angrier. What are you going to do about it, huh? You're gonna shove me, you're going to attack me? That's exactly what tieflings would do. This escalates, you hear tumbling, you hear grunts, you hear a scream. Ah! And then a body fall. You hear whispers in the distance, you hear, oh please, no, please, I can't bring you back. Despater, please guide me, help me, aid me in this time of need. And you hear the snarl at the center of the Hall of Oracles glowing. What? And then the sound of a clink, like a ring, just fell on the ground. And you hear the doors open. What is the meaning of this? And the last thing you hear is, oh shit. When you come back to the present, Professor Mirsha removes his ring, and his hand begins to turn red. His entire body follows suit, and a pair of horns appear on his forehead, and he says, hello, Mistake. My name is Lore. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Dibs on favorite moment being Fane getting eaten by beetles. Called it. That's fair. He does feel more like Griff's villain. If you want to call dibs on it,
You can
I can
have it. Go
rescind
ahead.
my dibs.
No, take it.
I feel like Fane can be a general villain.
Yeah.
He's not just Griff's villain.
He's become our villain.
If anything, Griff's dad is Griff's villain.
Fair.
I mean, Griff had lots of villains in that case, because he also had Jarek.
Griff is flush with villains.
Jarek feels more, to me at least, more like Koss's villain. Not only was he Koss's boss, but in the gala, it was Koss who came in and basically dragged Brita away, and then he never saw her again.
Who else do you see as like the bad guy relationships?
If you had to assign villains to each of the rogues galleries.
Oh boy,
Because Gary was the Gruul clan, now it's not. Grook
Yeah,
is
because
the
Grook
bad.
seems very happy
Yeah.
with
No.
Gary.
Yeah.
So for mistake, I think it's more Cayenne because of the laugh.
Oh, really?
Laughter. She never forgot that. And I never forgot that. For Gary, the closest we got is fucking Rampart. But like,
Not actually a villain.
not actually a villain.
Anti-hero.
Yeah.
His nemesis.
Rival.
Which is, there are fewer school rivals. Like, I feel like Koss has almost a rival in Chimera, but also not,
Yeah.
because it's like,
Cost does their best to
it's
not
a
have rivals.
frenemy
Yup,
relationship.
It really is a
Yeah.
frenemy. So before we start, Rin, you said you had a proposal for the table. Did you want to bring that up in character?
I was going to suggest that at the opportune time, but
Sure. So let's just dive in that case. We fade in on the ruins of an ancient temple, where the F Squad has discovered the final resting places of Xandro the Executioner and Golwanda the Bloodspiller, as well as the potential cause of all the judgment and racism in Redfell. The legendary Crimson Glaive was here, orbiting around a red snarl at the center of the altar. But you weren't the only ones who made it down here. Fane the Broker showed up with his inkling, Grooks the Vampiric Goblin, a veiled woman who turned out to be Cayenne, former Dean of Quandrix, and a pale man with white hair who was, thanks to Gary, revealed to be Jarek Burninghammer in disguise. It took a bit to adjust to the situation. Some of you tried to talk your way out of it, others tried to come up with a plan, others were coping with mummy rot over there.
Make it sound like it's more than one person.
and Griff decided to throw a dagger at a lever on a wall, thus triggering a mechanism that released a log from the rafters that swung down like a pendulum, knocking two of the enemies off their feet. And just like that, everything changed. A fight broke out. There was some great moments, including, as we mentioned, Mistake leaping onto the swinging log, shooting arrows at the enemies, Gary using a homunculus monkey servant to pull the cursed Crimson Glaive into the snarl.
A homunculus servant.
Yes. And of course, Koss striking a deal with the Silver Trobes, the deal being, help save my friends and you can have me. Meanwhile, the whole temple had started to collapse as well. Due to the intense power emanating from the snarl, the homunculus servant was sucked into the snarl, but not before it gripped the Crimson Glaive, dragging it along with it. And when it was fully gone, the snarl lit up all the brighter, creating a powerful vibration that made the whole place tremble. After this, two of the enemies ran off through a portal, perhaps to make good on their promise to tie Mistake's captive friends to a boulder and throw them into the ocean. Fane was left behind because Fane was engaged in a fight with Griffin, who had gone berserk. But not before Jared used the mage hand to steal an amulet from Xandro's grave and dropping it over Griff's neck, therefore waking up the historic figure, Xandro, who was now a mummified lord, a powerful undead who can only awaken if any treasure was stolen from his grave. At the end of the session, in a moment of desperation, Fane summoned an ink blade which went through Griff's abdomen, almost killing him. Except Gary saved him from such a fate. He had prepared a healing word which then wafted over to Griff, saving him from death. And upon waking, no longer berserk, Griff realized what had happened, took off the amulet, and shoved it into Fane's mouth. Xandro saw this. Fane tried to beg for his life, tossing the amulet back into the grave, but Xandro decided to punish the man anyway, by touching him in the forehead once, summoning a swarm of beetles from the earth that began eating the broker alive. As the party took refuge in a hallway nearby, and as everything was crumbling, Gary decided to whip out, let me phrase that better. Gary decided to pull out of his knapsack Does this thing like expand? I picture it expanding.
I picture it expanding as well. I don't know that that's officially part of the description, but I like that.
An immovable rod, which managed to keep the entrance from caving in. So as the party took refuge in that hallway, able to hear Fane's panic screams, Professor Mirsha showed up at the last minute, reuniting with everyone, just as a last portal opened up, dragging Fane the Broker presumably to safety. We begin here today in this hallway. Things have not exactly gone as planned. You made a grand discovery, only now things have taken a turn for the worst. And Gary, you look on the brink of passing out. You are sweaty and pale like you're running a terrible fever. And your arm is rotting. And that rot is spreading. May we please begin with a Gary con check.
Alright. That's an 8.
Okay, you take 1 hit point of damage.
Oh.
As Professor Mirsha immediately rushes to give you a helping hand, looks at the rest of you. What is happening?
Mummy curse thing.
Rot.
Somehow, after like 8 months of researching this place, learning everything I could about all these stupid mummification processes, nothing warned me about curses.
You were touched.
Scratch.
Violently, yeah.
He begins dumping stuff out of his rucksack. Someone put him under there, under the arch, under the immovable rod, please.
Griff grabs him and does that.
As rocks keep falling everywhere, the silver troves, like keeping an eye on cost, they begin slowing some of the rocks down as they're falling. Basically casting Featherfall on them, but their own version of it, if you will. They are doing that. What are the rest of you doing?
Panicking.
Yeah.
Lying on the ground.
Let me out so I can help.
Can you roll a persuasion check for that one?
Sure. 13.
Okay. Vistra releases you from the earth that is holding you back and says, I'm keeping my eye on you.
Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, and I'm gonna go over to see if there's anything I can do. I don't think there is too much, though.
Bankar, gold, now. And they like run off around the corner to gather as much gold as they can.
What can we do? Anything?
Remove curse.
I had a scroll in here somewhere. He finds the scroll, but upon looking at your arm, he's like, it might be too. How long ago was he touched, scratched?
Let's see. We fought all those people. We came through here.
He has clear panic in his eyes. He is not sure whether this is going to work, given how much time has passed. But he's trying nonetheless, and he's like pulling out some materials, cleaning, sanitizing his hands, and he begins reciting the incantation. Carrie, lift up your sleeve.
So does it? I'm sure it looks real gross.
Yeah, I'm sorry for this, but the mummy rod had already started making your arm a little withered and dry, and now on top of that, there appear to be open sores on it, holes that have started to just form. I know. Except, like I said, all you can see inside is rotting muscle. No blood it's not bleeding actively. It's just, yeah. Okay. And as Professor Mirsha is reciting from the scroll begins to glow. His hands begin to glow, and he waits for it, and then just at the right moment, he puts his hand on your forearm. The scroll just lights up and evaporates into a pile of dust, and his hand stopped glowing, but the rod's still there. It didn't make it past your delt before it just spread right back to the shoulder.
Was the scroll broken or something? Do you have a second one?
Or like a whole bunch of them, we can just use all of them at once. Concentrated effort.
I only have the one.
That's a shit deal. Other ideas. Other things we can do.
Is there somebody in Redfell that we could take him to?
Possibly, he's human, so churches with clerics.
Professor, you would know better than mistake, right?
Maybe, but we need to go now. Then in that case, we need. And then he like runs out of this hallway towards the silver trove. Hey, quickly! We need to. Their voices kind of blend and there's a lot of echoing, but the gist that you hear essentially, the Silver Trouble are saying, we're basically out of juice. No, we need to get some rest here before we can excavate out there. He doesn't have time. He doesn't, and he runs right back.
All right. Plan D. Plan D.
Are there any cursed objects out here? Maybe we can overrule one curse with another.
Let's look.
I mean,
Gary, I don't know. I don't know. Gary, I'm so sorry.
No. There's a solution here.
We got a snarl thing. That's big magic.
That's right. I have an idea.
We're not putting Gary through a snarl.
No, but we don't need to. Gary, do you mind coming with me to the snarl real quick?
If I can walk, sure.
I'll give you a lending hand. Here. Griffin, please.
Oh, it's me.
You've been voluntold.
I don't know what this is going to do, so maybe just me and Gary.
Okay.
Mistake. Are you thinking what I think you're thinking?
Oh, probably. It's a terribly stupid idea, but you gave it such a ringing endorsement.
He leans in. You guys can hear this, but he tries to be as subtle as possible. That was over 20 years ago, and it was a phenomenon.
Sure, but lords don't die. And Mystic just kind of walks away and helps Gary up. Right, we're gonna go for a short walk.
Okay.
And it'll work.
Hey, Mistake.
Yeah.
Thanks for being such a good friend.
Now I know you're not feeling right.
No, you're all really... I've never had such good friends before. And I don't know if I even thought that it was possible.
Well, it is. I didn't think it'd be possible a human would be, but, here we are.
Also, sorry for, kind of freaking out on you multiple times. I think I had an excuse, though.
No, you're fine, and honestly, everything you said was right. I lie about pretty much everything.
But you do it to help.
Maybe. I always try to do what's right, but I don't think I'm very good at figuring out what that is. But I was serious about what I said before. I would never forgive myself if any of you got seriously hurt here. So I'm going to do what I can to make sure that doesn't happen. And I just really hope this will work.
Let's give them some space.
So Mistake hobbles over to the snarl with Gary. I'm picturing has Gary's left arm over her shoulder kind of thing to support his left side.
That's scaffold.
You gotta help him up too. Because the stairs we had established were trapped.
Are collapsed in, and I'm just...
Now, before you start on this, to add more flavor to the scene here, Mirsha is asking you guys to stay near the back of the temple. And furthermore, he sees Griff's fanny pack overflowing with gold, removes his handy haversack, and will say, this should hold a whole lot more.
Oh.
Get to scooping. So they'll be back here scooping
Does
gold.
he give me the half hand?
Yeah. Well, not to keep, it's his, but
Oh, it's mine
to
now. I
take.
can't have it back.
Stealing from a professor.
That's right.
So, Mistake brings Gary to this area near where the statues to the Four Seasons are, right beneath the snarl, sort of as close as she dares get, roughly how close she thinks she could get to the snarl at the Hall of Oracles. And sort of sets Gary down and sits next to him. She puts one hand on his arm, as gross as it looks. She hesitates a little bit because it's not nice looking, but she puts...
Beef jerky.
Oh.
I love beef jerky.
Do you still?
Very upsetting.
So she puts one hand on Gary's arm, closes her eyes, and prays entirely in Infernal. Levistus, Lord of Stygia, I would like to make a bargain from an inescapable fate. Release the curse from this human, and I alone will pay your price. And proposal the second. This cures the curse from Gary, maybe leaving whatever scar up to you. In exchange, Mistake loses her left arm. She will no longer be able to use her bow.
Whoa.
Arm for an arm. Law of equivalent exchange.
Exactly. And that is my proposal for the table.
Damn.
Whatever entity Mistake is actually bargaining with, whether it's Levistus or someone else, takes her arm.
Well, I think that is entirely up to you guys.
So Rin's clearly into it. I'm not a stakeholder here. This is your world and your character.
I mean, I like it a lot.
Yay.
So, if that's what it takes.
So this is happening, but we're gonna play up the drama. So Mistake is on the floor with a very sickly looking Gary, and she recites this prayer to Levistus. But nothing happens at first. Mistake gets that panicked feeling that she just had before she came up with this idea of like, shit, what if it doesn't work?
She's in her head convincing herself it has to work. This absolutely has to work. Trying to focus very hard, trying to mentally reach out to whatever magical energies emit from the snarl. Like, she's not good at magic, she doesn't know how this works, but she's attended the classes. And she's trying to do anything she can think of, everything she's learned from class about how to be attuned to the magic in the world around you. And
What if you have to move closer?
I was thinking as well, she raises up her left arm to
Yeah.
it. Because she has her right hand on Gary's wounded arm, so her left arm, she's reaching out.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't touch it, but you're very, very close.
You can feel the
warmth.
magical vibrations through her fingertips.
And you wait, and you wait, and you presumably are reciting the same prayer, perhaps under your breath, over and over again as Gary, make one last Constitution saving throw, please. Yes!
It better be less than a 4.
6!
That drops Gary to 0. Oh.
And Gary falls unconscious right on the floor in front of Mistake.
Can I make that aw noise again? It sounded like a sex noise to
Sure.
me, and I didn't like it.
That's the sex
That's
noise.
better.
You whisper one last thing before
Oh,
the
damn it.
world goes black. What do you whisper?
What would Gary's last words be? Shit.
Tell him you're stuck.
Fuck 'em.
Say you're scared.
Oh, that would be powerful.
Say you're scared. Gary's always saying fuck him. Say you're scared.
I can't fuck him.
Guess there's no second date.
Oh.
I tell Minnie thanks.
And then he falls unconscious. And you just hear, Gary? From afar, as Professor Mirsha tries to get a little closer, but is also pretty scared. And then, the snarl begins to glow again. Almost as if in response to something, just like when the Crimson Glaive was dragged in there and it began to light up and go crazy.
It's in response to Mistake's prayer in her head turning into Levistus, you backstabbing asshole.
Yes, the emotion triggers this response. And once more, the room vibrates violently, and Mirsha falters a little. For funsies, can the two of you make perception checks?
24.
18.
Yes. The magic radiating from this snarl sends a pulsating wave of energy that messes with everything in the room, everything magic. So Gary's immovable rod begins to quake underneath the weight of the entrance because it too is a magical object, but for a second it falters. Mistake hears like the whispers of her earring for a sec, like even though she didn't trigger it. But since every magic item here is faltering, both Koss and Griff notice a brief glitch as Professor Mirsha's skin is suddenly red and he's got horns, and then he goes right back to looking like a person. It's like a couple of flashes. Oh, sorry. no, yeah. A human person.
How close are Griff and Koss?
Pretty close.
Griff would just instinctively like reach out and grab Koss's like bicep. Koss. You saw that?
More important things, Gary. Gary, I'm mistaken.
But you saw that.
No, sure.
And like energy being transferred, the room stops vibrating at the same time that Gary just... His arm begins to soften again, begins to fill with life again. The rod spreads away from the shoulder, down the delt, down the elbow and forearm, leaving behind only, I want to say it's red because this is a red snarl, leaving behind his veins outlined in red. Like they're so full and thick with blood that they stand out against his pale skin as red. Furthermore, Mistake, I don't even think this would be painful. I think Mistake's got her arm in the air one moment, and the next, a cloud of dust gathers at her face as her hand, starting with her fingertips, begins to crumble into dust down the wrist, down the forearm.
The sleeve just kind of drops to the ground. I think Mistake still has her eyes closed, so she doesn't know anything of what's happening.
To Koss, this looks like Mistake is disintegrating and being sucked into the snarl. So Koss is going to run in and tackle Mistake away from the thing.
You run in, you tackle Mistake down. Mistake's arm is no longer there. It ends in a stump just past the elbow, just at the beginning of the elbow.
I imagine at the moment it's just empty sleeve. Like you see arm and then just fabric.
And Gary, you're able to sit up. If we can rewind a little, what did Gary see? His whole life flashed before his eyes and he got a flashback to his past. What would he have seen, do you think?
Ooh. He probably would have seen a lot of things. If it's, kind of a life flashing before your eyes sort of scenario. So he would have seen himself as a child constantly breaking things he wasn't supposed to because he was trying to figure out how they worked, and constantly being in the way and continuing to get moved to smaller and smaller parts of the house as his parents just had more and more children. Eventually sees himself showing up at Minnie's one day and then cooking for her and sort of having that life and that routine, and then turning his hair white, and then not too much later melting a statue, and then getting his letter to Strixhaven and getting on an airship. And I think we kind of know where the story goes after that point.
At the very end, I think as things catch up to Gary, there is the melty face of Croct that is ready to welcome him into the afterlife.
Oh my gosh. And then suddenly you're back in the room.
And you feel Mistake's hand abruptly leave your arm as Mistake gets tackled to the ground by Koss, but hey, you have feeling in your arm again.
Mistake, are you still with us? Gary, are you awake?
Ow!
Hello?
I mean, aside from where you just tackled me to the ground, that hurt more than time Griff did that. At least that was in grass.
Koss grabs at the sleeve, just kind of feeling to are you in one piece?
I'm fine. It's fine. Gary, are you okay?
I mean, I've been better, but I'm a lot better than I was a minute ago. Did he regain any hit points?
I think you're stabilized at 1 hit point.
One.
I always bring people back at 1 because...
Gary, feel better.
Hey, guys.
I have one of these.
Griff, you're also nearby. You just saw Mistake's hand get pulverized. and Gary presumably coming back from death. As the snarl returns to normal and the room stops shaking.
What did you even do?
You know, it was a faint idea that maybe something like this would work. I heard in Professor Galvan's class of someone doing something similar
Mistake?
in a desperate situation, and it worked, right?
What did you do?
Wished really hard.
Mistake?
Anyway, Kosk, do you mind if I, get off the ground?
Oh, yes, sure.
Great.
Koss will get up off of a mistake and then offer the wrong hand to Mistake. And then kind of realize...
I think Mistake also slightly realizes it, but is trying to, just bury that shit right now.
Other
Not
hand.
dealing with it. Just gets up, offers to help Gary off the ground, just sort of, brushes herself off with the one hand, not addressing it. Right, so now what? We were, camping down here or something, right?
Mistake, you're...
Things doing, we needed rest.
So you don't want to talk about it?
We're not talking about it. Do
Okay.
you want to talk about the whole purple eyeball thing?
You
Alright, she's fine.
There we go. See, Griff gets it.
As the four of you are having this discussion, you hear once again Misha saying, "Mistake." And as presumably if you look over, you're going to actually see the silver troves holding pistols against the professor's head. How many goddamn changelings are there here?
Just the one.
What about this one?
He's...
Not a changeling.
We ain't blind.
Why do you care how many changelings there are here?
It's because y'all are a virus. You're a virus to the Silver Trove name, and you're a virus to society. And you're coming with us, and maybe so is he.
No.
No?
No, you're not taking my friends.
Also, everything that I've seen Cost contribute to anything has been very helpful, so this kind of seems like a stupid line of thinking.
Yeah, I mean, Koss was part of the group that stopped the Collector from stealing a bunch of shit from the Burning Hammers. Do you really want the Silver Trove name to be, Silver Trove's imprisoned, heroic member of the F Squad who saved the Burning Hammer Gala because they're... Do you want me to finish that sentence? Because there are a lot of colourful words I can use there.
All I know is we had a deal. We helped y'all out, and that one came with us. Points right at Koss.
We still have a deal, as
Yeah.
long as everybody else gets out safely.
And last I heard, you all needed a little nap. And honestly, we probably all do.
Okay. They're gonna slowly, gently lower the pistols. Fine. But we're taking the first watch.
Like that violence stopped in favor of a nap. You're white. Oh, we'll be cranky. We will have graham crackers and milk.
What does the party do?
Is the place, no longer falling
Yeah.
apart?
The place is no longer falling apart.
Is the bridge still here?
Yes, it is, but I took it off.
It's
because
just a
of
microphone now, though.
It's just a microphone.
Griff would like to be on the top.
I would like to get on top of the microphone as well.
Don't actually do it.
No. I think, we're probably just resting, both physically and emotionally exhausted at this point.
I bet.
We might spend some time digging through treasure and, preparing that at the very least.
I think Gary's kind of marveling at his new arm. He's a little bit like, oh, it looks weird, but is mostly like, holy shit, I have an arm again.
Yeah.
Not particularly upset about it looking weird,
I guess
since it is there.
Ross is going to attempt to mimic Harry's new arm and see if they can manage that.
Oh, that's disarming.
I think you can.
Okay.
I think you can. It's just changing the color of your veins and how much they stand out. And for the most part, Gary's arm feels normal. It's not numb anymore. You have full range of motion. It just now looks... Well, I think it looks badass, but you might not think so, or some people might not think so.
Which arm is it?
It's his left arm, which is his dominant hand.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your left arm.
Yeah, which is not Mistake's dominant hand. And I think before they sleep, Mistake's going to ask Koss, is there any chance you've heard from Pigment or could check in with anything?
I think we're too far away for me to do that.
Right, of course.
Sorry, we'll get back up as quickly as we can.
Yeah, no, it's just, if what Jarek said is what he's doing, then, well, 10 minutes would be too long. So we'd already be too late.
We'll at least need to take some time to find the boulder.
Yeah, maybe.
It'll be okay. We'll get up there, and if something's going wrong, then we'll stop it, because that's what we do.
Yeah, maybe.
And as this is happening, you said that for the most part you are also spending some time digging through the loot and stuff.
Yeah.
Gary, you realize that in this corner of the temple, in this area, there are also chests here full of gold and treasure. But particularly in Golwanda's side, there's other stuff, including parchments with like proclamations of civil rights, poetry, literature, art, also like tiny trinkets made by hand representing the old gods of the seasons, and recipes from all across the ancient globe. Very clearly, Sandrill valued physical gold and treasure, and Golwanda's people valued other things like art and knowledge. And among all this, Gary finds a chest with very, very old parchment that you have to handle delicately lest it turns to dust and crumple up in your hands. But you know that this is... You know what a recipe looks like. You know what an ingredient list looks like. And perhaps after a little bit of cleanup back in a sanitized lab, you can get to the bottom of what this is. But you at least know that this is up your alley as an alchemist.
Putting that in my knapsack.
We will discuss how much gold you each individually get, but in this room alone there is 10,000 gold. It's not to split between 4 because you have a professor.
You're right. I took it all. I should figure out how to disperse it.
And some of these discoveries are going to go to Lorehold.
Mistake will be very grumpy about the gold going to Lorehold.
It's not like all going to Lorehold. You're each getting a share. It's just not...
She's still upset about any of it going to Lorehold. This is not a Strixhaven sponsored
That
thing.
is true.
And a non-trivial portion of, if not all, of what Mistake takes from here is going to Lorehold. So she is going to be very upset about that.
To clarify, I did not mean necessarily the gold itself. I meant the historical artifacts, such as 2 graves. Do you want 2 graves?
No. I'm talking about specifically the money.
No, that's
Okay.
that's fine.
Her response will be, not physically, physically Lorehold.
Well,
It doesn't it seem better to just leave it?
no, we're going to leave it. Of course, we're going to leave it. But when I get back, I'm going to talk to Dean Zimone and Dean Valentin and perhaps open a portal here now that we've seen it. You get where I'm going with this?
Make it a tourist destination?
No, we move it to Lorehold.
That's
through
still
portal.
moving it.
Sure, but I mean, if we leave it down here, bullets will get to it, or the ocean will.
It hasn't yet.
That's true.
And if you know it's here, then you can protect it, right?
We can, presumably.
So, maybe just leave it. I mean, one amulet did, all that, and
That's true.
we don't really know all the triggers for what wakes all the mummies and, that kind of thing.
Koss steps on the trap on that staircase that has been there the entire time.
Yeah.
Roll a dexterity saving throw.
Bad.
You take 12 points of damage cost.
Ow!
As a bear trap breaks through the stairs and traps you at the shin and hurts you pretty damn badly.
I found the trap!
Sorry, I really should have warned you about that. Sorry.
It's okay! We're about to take a nap.
Yeah, good news, that's the only one that I know of.
Thank
the
you.
other one was already triggered.
Very well. And so you take a long rest?
A
Griff's already sleeping.
He's already sleeping.
I think Mistake really struggles to sleep.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I bet.
You sleep on that arm.
Yeah.
Attempt to grab blanket.
Yeah, and can't. So yeah, I think she spends a while just sort of sitting up and like wanting to get to the point of accepting and just like being like past it and being like, yep, okay, this is just how it is. But knowing there's like a whole journey she's gonna have to take to get there, and really wanting to not take that journey.
Before sleeping, you had to collect all your things. You had to collect your bow. Realize shit. Yep. Can't use that.
She's trying to just like mentally make jokes about all of it, like, oh, maybe I can just give this back to Rezi now. She's not gonna, but she's thinking it.
On Gary's side of things, I want to say that part of his nightly routine is him making these elixirs that he ends up with every day, and he, you know, is just like, oh, it's been so tiring, I'm just gonna just try to go to sleep, and it's just like, nope, can't sleep without doing this. Also, probably similar to Mistake, has, you know, a lot to take in and think about, and so he's just kind of sitting in a corner, like, stirring stuff.
Everyone
Near
is like
Mistake.
coping on their own separately while trying to pretend everything is fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except for Griff, who's sleeping soundly.
Hey, that's how Griff deals.
And actually, on that note, as Griff is sleeping soundly, I wanted him to have a conversation with the two of you, but it could be that Griff is sleeping and Professor Mirsha approaches, causing Griff. Griff is snoring against the wall there. Koss is nearby playing a lute.
Yep.
The professor sits down on the floor. Hey,
Hello.
can we just talk for a second?
Yeah, sure. What about?
This whole mission has been a complete mess. Nothing went as planned. I abandoned you for a long time. I was lost. I just want to make sure, one, that you're okay.
Physically, I'm fine. Yeah.
Good, good.
I mean, mistakes, missing an arm.
Yeah, everyone's doing terribly. That's why I wanted to make sure you were okay. Do you have a curse hiding underneath that shirt or something?
Not a curse so much as just a weird birthright situation.
Yeah, on that note, you saw, didn't you?
The little illusion flicker?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, if that's who you want to be, then it's far be it for me to tell you otherwise.
It's more complicated than that, Koss. Sometimes we can't choose who to be.
Yeah, I know. I know what that's like. Do you want to tell me about your situation?
You know, maybe someday. Yes. But for now, can you just promise you will say nothing to anyone at Strixhaven?
Of course, my lips are sealed.
Thank you.
Koss also, like, points towards Griff, who is snoring away, and just says, well, he also saw, by the way.
Yes, I know. I will have to talk to him later. Shh. As Griff is snoring very soundly, Professor Mirsha leans in. He contemplates holding out a hand.
You know how to pet me. Don't you fucking pet me.
Kind of. Calls to you. Can I see a paintbrush or something?
Sure. What's up?
He takes the paintbrush, uses the wooden side, and brushes some of Griff's hair upwards. And because this is the third time he's gone berserk, he has a little bit of a side effect. Among his luxurious mullet mane, there is a purple tendril that has grown out.
Tendril or hair?
Tendril.
Define tendril.
It looks like a dreadlock, but it looks more alien-like. It's a thick, biological dreadlock.
So it's skin. It's a skin lock.
But it's purple, much
It's a
like
fur lock.
much like what you see on a mage hunter, the meaty purple antenna on them. You have grown one, and it looks like a purple highlight on your mane.
Hang on. Is it badass though?
It's pretty badass.
Alright, cool.
That's new.
He shivers.
Griff scratches.
We should probably take him to see Dean Valentin when we go back to school.
Yeah,
Just to check up on him.
of course. Yeah, when we get back to school.
And Gary. And
Mistake.
Gods.
Yep.
What a mess.
All of my friends undergone physical trauma. Confuse me just with my identity drama. I wish that somebody would see me for who I am.
Before we skip to the 8 hours later, Mistake. That night, Mistake has a bit of a... It's unfair to call it a nightmare. It's just very psychedelic. It's not exactly scary. Have you ever dreamt that you were floating in midair?
I've had dreams in which I fly, is that?
Kind of like that, except there's no environment. It's like you're falling into sky.
Oh, the void.
Yeah. It's almost like in your dream you woke up and you were lying on the grass looking up at nothing but sky, but then you realize you're not lying at all. You're falling. And it's just empty space. And in the distance, a glow like the sun gets closer and closer and closer. As you, Mistake, keep falling towards it. As it gets closer, you realize you are looking at a snarl. You've heard stories of people throwing stuff into snarls, of people in history. You see that. You see objects and people being sucked into the snarl. For example, you see Shelley's green stone being sucked into the snarl. You see a girl in Witherbloom garments that you can guess is Rose Pentagar going into the snarl. You see a bunch of magical objects that you've heard about being created with snarls, and you are heading in the same direction. And it gets brighter and brighter, and you see yourself, your own hand, disintegrating into the snarl, and then you follow suit as the world goes super bright and blinding, and then you wake up in this room amongst your friends, and that snarl hovering right above you. And that's what you dream.
So he just kind of lies there and stares at the snarl for a bit. Not entirely present.
The rest of you are still asleep when you hear a clanking. Hey! Y'all ready to go? We got our juice back.
Yeah, sooner the better, right, Mistake?
Yep, let's go.
Griff.
Gary?
Griff.
Griff.
There.
Gary, you okay? Wake up?
Yep, sorry. Surprisingly good.
Sleep?
Good night's sleep will do you that.
I know! It's almost like nothing happened.
Show me your hand.
Okay.
You just inspect it for a second. Well, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what I'm looking at, but it looks good.
Spoiler, you're looking at a hand.
Yes, I know. Are we talking about it yet or no?
Talking about what? Mistake just walks away.
I should have minored in therapy and counseling.
Is that an option at Strixhaven?
It can be, sure.
I need to look into that.
Sounds like it could be a Silver Quill thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Lavinda did.
Shmuel teaches it.
Okay.
Come on, chop, kids.
Are we going out the way we came in?
That's right. Von Carr walks up to Koss with a pair of handcuffs and chains. The chain is attached to his waist, and he holds them out to Koss's wrist and just goes, sorry.
I feel the need to ask, did you just happen to have those with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't ask why.
Mistake debates interrupting, but then is thinking, Koss can just
Teleport.
and change into a smaller... I guess we're going with it.
Costa has a form with beefy forearms right now.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's a one-size-fits-all. The professor is trying to argue, like, come on, is this really necessary? We made a deal. Y'all ain't in Strixhaven no more. Changeling's coming with us. And they drag them on ahead. And the Silver Troves open up a tunnel They took a different direction, and you were able to see just how much there is down here. It's not just this church. There's a whole town, like section of a town here that used to exist that is just buried, and now the sea levels have risen and it's just lost and forgotten. But there's like this open space where you see what used to be like a plaza. You could almost picture, you know, groups of people here in a market going about their day, except it's just old and forgotten.
Lord, this place is massive.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we just get, like, free tuition for life for finding something like this?
It is a discovery of great historical significance, that's true. I think we can work something out.
I mean, at the very least.
How was this whole place buried? Was it just time?
It was a dragon.
Prismari.
That's what that was. It was completely burying the entire town.
Yeah. Sounds like.
Delightful.
You know, in retrospect, it was really stupid to start fucking with that snarl. I've been doing all this reading about Vermilion. The whole town is just now engulfed in permanent darkness because the orc started fucking with the snarl right below it. This one's right below Redfell. Could have destroyed the whole town.
We don't know that you didn't.
Thanks for that.
Sorry! Really appreciate what you did.
Do we know how far that pulse went that disrupted everything?
Nope, not a clue. Sort of right next to it at the time. Couldn't really measure.
Alright, onto the carpet.
Up front, by the way, I want Cost to have a brief conversation with the Silver Troves.
Oh, yeah. As all this is
I thought
happening.
that was Costas' voice. What are you
Yep.
doing?
So you found a couple other changelings like me, right? Did you know any of them beforehand?
Don't have to. They're all the same.
But did you know any of the people that they were saying they were?
Yeah,
Are you close?
about as close as two people can get. But she lied to me. This is obviously Vistra. Munkar's not talking. She lied to me, and Uncle Fieldrick threw her in jail. Serves her right for lying.
About her being a dwarf, or...
She wasn't a dwarf. She was never a dwarf. She sure as hell looked like one.
What was her name? So I know who I can look forward to getting to know.
Annabelle.
It's a shame that it sounds like she meant something to you, and it's a shame that you had to throw that away.
You know what? She did. But apparently I didn't mean enough to her. She wouldn't tell me the truth.
I've made that mistake before. It's an easy one to make when you're worried about how people will react to you telling the truth. If you think that people are going to, I don't know, put you into handcuffs and drag you off to jail, then it makes sense that you wouldn't, right?
Can you roll a charisma check? Persuasion.
Yeah, I'll take persuasion. 25.
Say it again?
25.
25. They're listening. That doesn't mean they're chummy yet.
Sure.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Trying to sweet talk me? It's not gonna work. Okay? I
don't expect I'm going to change your mind here. I just wanted to say I'm sorry for what happened. Because I've done that to somebody before and it didn't end well. And if I were to go back to that moment, I would tell them the truth from the beginning.
Who?
I mean, this was back when I was 15, so, you know, teen romance kind of things. Her name was Cardamom.
Pretty name.
Yep. Came in from out of town. She was a musician. She's actually the person who taught me to play. So I thought that she wanted somebody cooler than who I was, so I was pretending to be somebody else. And then eventually she found out.
As she's listening, she'll, because of that 25, she's gonna have a moment of feeling sorry for you. And she will just ease up, her shoulders will ease up, she'll say, I just want to know why. Why? You could have run off somewhere and been somebody else. Why'd you go and have to screw with our clan? You know, we don't play nice, or at least my uncles don't play nice.
You know, I wish that I could tell you that, but I don't know. I guess it's just what I knew.
What, you knew? You just knew how to be a dwarf? I don't get it.
Well, why did you join the Silver Troves?
I don't know.
Did you even join them? Or were you just born into it like most of the other Silver Troves?
I was born into them. They just told me since I was a toddler what I was going to do for the rest of my life, and there was comfort and safety there.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I joined too.
Well, now you went and got yourself into this mess, didn't you?
A little bit. But hey, at least all of my friends are going to be physically traumatized, but still alive and safe.
Yeah. Yeah, be thankful. It could have gone a lot worse. Now they're all fine. And you, best case scenario, maybe they just put you to work. And maybe you can work it off or something. And you'll be free again, and you can get away from the Silver Trove clan, start anew. Away from us.
Oh good, another internship.
Okay, onto the carpet, everyone.
I could show you though.
The ground starts shaking again. And you hear a shriek in the distance as another boulette scurries by way, way down the tunnel in the distance. The professor and the Silver Troves have this moment of like, shit, everybody in. The carpet starts to move up ever so slowly. Professor Misha's pulling out a crossbow. He's like, come on, faster. This thing doesn't go any faster. And the boulette like reaches the bottom of the tunnel as you guys are like 50 feet in the air. And it begins climbing up.
Kasa's going to reach into a pocket, pull out a paintbrush, and draw an anvil.
Yes! The anvil appears out of thin air and just whoop, falls directly down. Can you roll a d20 to hit, please?
Sure. 16.
Yeah, no, that'll definitely hit. You just hear a as the boulette falls.
And then tiny little birds appear around the boulette's head.
You have to get the Redfell City Guard to do something about that situation.
You can ask them.
I will. You go higher and higher and higher until you reach the alleyway outside of the Mermaid's Tail. And the Silver Troves open up the earth, take a peek, then give you the okay of it's safe. Come on. And you all emerge to see a giant smoke cloud in the sky.
Going straight for it.
Yeah, Mistake books it. The rest of you presumably follow suit.
I would like to.
They're going to run with the cost.
Kasa's gonna hold out the manacles for like, can you run faster? You might as well.
Frick. Okay, she unlocks it, but then they will run with you
cool.
as well. So the whole group is running. The smoke cloud is rising out of the jail.
Okay, I was gonna ask, like, which general direction was it?
Yep, it is coming from the jail. You will hear guards, like, running back and forth, like, quick, get more water, get one more water.
Can I jump onto Grip's back so he can piggyback me so I can use pigment senses briefly?
Yes, absolutely.
I don't want to run blind.
The mistake is just instinctually going through all of, like, the alleyways and ducking into, like, all of these hidden areas that she knows in order to navigate the city safer without being noticed as much. And she has her Cloak of Elven Kind on with the hood up. She went to put the hood up and she's used to doing that with two hands, and then she couldn't, and then she awkwardly found a way to do it with one hand to pull the hood up and over her horns, and it kept snagging.
We'll come right back to that. Koss wanted to check Pigman's senses.
Yep.
Do you get visuals too?
Yeah. pretty much. Basically take over Pigment's full senses.
You get visuals of Pigment rushing through a burning building, and Pigment himself is knocking things over, making things burn up on purpose as guards are scurrying by, like, what the hell's that thing? Dude, get that thing out of here! And then, like, they're trying to put out the fire, but Pigment is just roaming and making it worse. That's what you see.
Through their telepathic link to Pigment, Kos will just say, I don't know what's going on or the context, but I'm sure you're doing a bang-up job.
You just get glee.
Literally.
Gary and Griff, are you guys doing
Knock
anything in
yourself
particular?
out, Pigment.
I had one idea that was dumb.
Please,
Go
yes.
ahead.
Okay, so this is definitely not how this spell works. But if there's a lot of smoke that they're all running towards, I really like the idea of taking the Purify Food and Drink spell and using that as something that you can then use your piece of food as like a smoke mask to filter the smoke.
Gary's doing that.
So Gary has purified an orange and is handing people orange segments.
I will trust you on this.
Breathe through your mouth.
My breath tastes like citrus.
Means it's working. It doesn't taste like smoke. Yeah, Mistake has your scarf over her face, as she
Yeah.
often does for these situations.
Mistake, as you're in an alleyway, you're ducking through all these hidden areas. Roll a stealth check with advantage, because you know this town well. You're blending into the shadows in an alleyway. I picture you in the backdrop as two guards meet up frantically right outside this alleyway where you're standing at. Where are the tieflings? There were two tieflings in there. Where are they? What were their crimes? I don't know. Let's find them. Let's find them now. And they like rush off
Going
around
to
the
use-
burning building.
Sorry, I always get thaumaturgy and prestidigitation confused, but I'm pretty sure this is a thaumaturgy thing.
Prestidigitation.
So I want to make the sound of like footsteps running away and like the opposite direction that Mistake wants to go to try and get them to go that way instead.
Yeah, you do that, and because they're already a bit frantically trying to control the situation, I think they hear that and they, that way, I heard something, that way, let's go, and then they just rush in that direction as Mistake is able to slip by. Does this mean that the party has separated from Mistake?
Mistake probably got through the streets a lot faster than we did.
Yeah.
I think so too.
I think they were probably trying to follow her, did not make it as far, and eventually like she turned a corner and they didn't know which one.
And I think I know where maybe you're going.
I mean, ultimately, I don't want to engage in anything without everyone being there.
No, yeah.
But Mistake is very concerned about what's happening.
Sure.
So she wants to make sure her friends are safe.
I think it's okay to say that the party is nearby.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mistake is able to blend in and out of the background.
I'm picturing the scene basically being Mistake navigating dexterously and lively through the streets, like slipping through cracks, and then the rest of the party bumbling through. Yeah, like crash, boom, knock things over.
Yeah. Us riding along on Griff's back for a portion of it.
Yep.
Yeah. Plus Gary, who's, you know.
Just like that all the time.
You guys notice on the way as you guys are bumbling through, there are some people in the town that are just behaving a tad bit strange. It's not just the chaos of what is happening and the fire and all that. They're coming out of their homes, they're staring a little bit confused, almost like they are waking up from a trance, but not quite, like they're still talking to each other. Hey, how are you? But they're confused because suddenly things in their heads are a lot quieter, calmer. And the voices in their heads not as loud.
So they're not racist.
Some of them are definitely still
they,
racist.
yeah, no, they definitely have some opinions. It's just they notice a difference.
They say them with question marks now.
Yeah, exactly. And as Mistake makes it past the burning building, a pebble is dropped on Mistake's head.
Looks up.
It's a tiefling in an unseen mask that just goes and tosses down the rope.
Can I roll with disadvantage to see how well she can climb with one hand?
Yes, absolutely. He didn't notice that you only had one hand.
Yeah, I mean, why would he?
All right. So it's 13 with strength.
So the party arrives just in time to see Mistake starting to climb up this rope. There is a member of the unseen up on the roof, but he's very stealthy and he just like does the same thing, motions a finger over the lips to keep quiet, even tosses a powder down below that makes things a hell of a lot quieter as well. But the first thing you see, of course, is Mistake struggling to, like she's doing a great job, albeit a bit stubbornly of like, no, I don't need help.
Because when you climb, you loop the rope around your foot to push yourself up. So normally you would like pull yourself up a bit with both hands and then loop it around your foot to be able to bring your hands up again. Yep. So she's still looping around her foot to pull herself up, but like her balance is really off because she can only stabilize herself with one hand. So there are times when she kind of just like swings on the rope and dumps the building.
Is there any other way of getting up?
Gary's gonna crush a dead spider into some tar and spider climb up.
Hell yeah!
It's not gonna try to do actual athletic things.
I want to help Mistake. So I think Kaz is going to grab the bottom side of the rope, hold it still, and just apply a little smiling face to it so that the bottom side starts floating up to the top.
Oh. Griff grabs onto Kaz.
If the rope is animated to go up, then in theory you don't have to climb it, you can just hold on to it and it'll elevate you up.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I'm grabbing onto Kaz.
Oh god! No!
My turn!
No! My strength isn't that good!
Yeah, Griffy back!
Great!
I'll remind you, we're trying to be quiet.
The three of you in this animated rope pass by Gary, who is just climbing.
He
up
kind
the
of just
wall.
like looks to the side and looks at his hands.
So
Like, what did I waste that dead spider for?
I got a 5 on athletics for holding on to a rope while Griff is holding on to my legs.
You fall, you accidentally slip and let go, and then Griff has to grab on, and then you end up hanging off of Griff, so you just
Are you holding onto Griff's tail?
Yeah, of course.
You can put in a cat screech sound effect.
Mistake winces in sympathy.
As Kaz is hanging from your tail, you do like the hair whip, and you notice a tendril slaps you in the face. A purple
I love the idea of
Stuck in your mouth.
And you might not have noticed that had grown out of you overnight.
I have a head tail.
Sure, man.
love it.
If that's how you want to phrase it.
The two silver-turtled dwarves float up on floating rocks. And they step onto the roof, and then the rocks just fall.
You could have done that for us.
And run out of juice so quickly? No? You get up to the roof, the tiefling immediately just goes, shh, follow. Begins guiding you through the roofs. Mistake, you might know exactly where he's heading because you know the area very well. He's taking you to your very own hideout.
Okay. So I've been writing this Mistake short story, and the beginning of it, he's traversing through like connected attics to get to the location she wants to bring her date to. So when you said, oh, you're going across the roofs, you know where this is, that's where my mind went.
Yeah. You might even get some flashbacks and some very awkward moments.
It mostly went well until they got caught.
I'll allow you to lead the way. Once they get there, you can see your hideout down below. You're in a roof across. There are still guards scurrying by, but not as many in this area since they're trying to control the situation nearby. And you might have learned just from hearing them scream and shout that Monsieur William of the Mermaid's Tail really wants those tieflings. Have you found them? No, he's really pissed. And then they just like keep running.
Mistake along the way is going to mutter to Griff, I need some words with your uncle. Runs the unseen, uses the Mermaid's Tail as a hideout, and had no idea that the new owner was another burning hammer in disguise. Really?
I mean, he's only got one eye.
And you guys head down.
So we're on like the human side of the city, right? In order to get to the hideout from like this part of the city, there are certain areas within their doorways that get through the wall that separates the tiefling part from the human part. This route doesn't have like a direct proper doorway, but this wall is just in shambles at various points. So Mistake hops down and goes to where there's like this huge crack
in the wall that's just been there for ages, and there's like this piece of wood over it, and just sort of pulls that aside, goes to pull it with her left hand, and just like, God damn it. And goes the other side, pulls it with her right hand, motions people through, looks at Gary a little concerned.
If they're rude, I'll handle it.
Sure. They deserve it. I mean, not me personally, but, general.
And then follows behind everyone, puts the wood back. Used to doing it with two hands to stabilize it, but with only one hand, she can't do it quite right, so it just flops down the other way, like horizontally. Doesn't quite cover the whole crevice, and she's like, fine.
I imagine things are not very well put together here as well. Like there might be some like trash and rubble and stuff everywhere, kind of.
Yeah.
Of half-standing houses and stuff. Gary, roll a dexterity saving throw.
Nobody else has to roll a dexterity saving
Nope,
throw.
just you.
Oh.
Nat 1.
It's beautiful. Can we please just let this happen? Gary's foot gets stuck and falls into just a bunch of rubble somewhere that the rest of the party keeps moving stealthily towards the hideout.
Guys, hello?
And no, they're gone. They're heading towards the hideout, and Gary's left in the tiefling sector by himself. As the first thing we see is a couple of tiefling kids playing ball that they just stop and look at you.
Hi. Sorry.
Hi. Mom said you're not supposed to talk to them. Bye. And then they just run away.
Do you help me get out of here?
Shh, go find an adult. Go find an adult. And we'll come right back to you. Somehow the rest of the party doesn't notice that Gary has,
Yeah, because Mistake was last through, so was just in such a hurry to go that she just like runs past everyone, and everyone who went in front of her, aside from the unseen, has no idea where to go, so they probably came through, waited, Mistake ran ahead, and then Gary goes to follow, and that's when his foot gets stuck, and that's why everyone else was just following the tour guide, and...
You guys make it to the hideout. The first thing that you see, Mistake, is King. I think he saw you coming through the curtain, that just as you're getting there, you don't even have to tug on the curtain yet when he just immediately opens it and hugs you. Hi. Oh.
Hello?
So much has happened, but first, oi! Sass immediately runs up to you and also hugs you. Oh, shite, what the hell happened there?
I don't know what you're talking about. What? I'm very confused.
Me too, but that's badass, mate.
Fill the confused mistake in, please.
The rest of your friends arrive and there's like a big group hug. Against the wall, you see Uncle Oz and a couple of his unseen stand up, ready to explain. As,
Must be so cramped in
Yeah, it's a tiny little hideout, but Uncle Oz is like, nobody cared to tell me that there were people in the jail we were sending guards to?
I didn't know until after I got to Redfell, and by the time I'd rejoined everyone else, you'd already fucked off.
Well, I fucked off because I was sticking to the plan.
Yeah, I was also trying to stick to the plan, but then it turned out two of my friends were arrested. Also, how did you not know that the new owner of the Mermaid's Tail was Jarek Burninghammer?
Oh, fuck that guy. I can't stand him.
Right, yes, but things could have been communicated there.
Look, I was estranged from my family when Jarek was just like 8. How the fuck am I supposed to know what he's like as an adult? I barely know what Griff is like as an adult. Sorry, hey Griffin.
Okay, can we clarify what's happening right now in the
why
city?
is the jail on fire?
Says is like, so, funny story, this crazy watercolor thing came up and like...
Pigment.
Oh, that's the name. Well,
Yes.
I thought it was some kind of weird extra-dimensional creature that came to my rescue. I was like, well,
Not too entirely wrong.
Levis has answered the call. Hey! Turns out it was just you lot and your friends. And Uncle Oz chimes in like, yeah, alright, when we figured out what was happening between the watercolor pigment and us, we set fire to the damn thing. We got your brains out. Mixotos gave us some acid. The goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bars burned right through.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering how you were still in prison despite being apparently BFFs with him.
I'm wondering how the hell the Gru clan and the Unseen were both just in Redfell, just happened to be here.
Well, that wasn't a coincidence, but...
Cut to Gary's still trapped in rubble as a crowd of tieflings have begun to kind of gather. Some of them just walking by like, don't look. Others just like, trying to figure out what is going on here. Is this some kind of trap? Doris, I don't know.
Hi. Sorry.
Did you hear that? Did he just say sorry to us?
King of the tieflings.
I think Gary's been going through his stuff. Because clearly none of these tieflings are helping him get out. So he's just like, I guess I have to get out on my own. So he's like rummaging through his bag. Among other things, I think he's gonna pull out a bunch of homemade granola bars that were like for this journey. That are like, you know, delicious, because he made them. And while he's doing this, he's like, want a granola bar? Kind of just looks around at like, anyone.
Some toddler like gobbles over to you, but then a very paranoid mother's pulls the toddler back and the toddler starts crying.
Right, no, I understand not wanting to take candy from strangers. Okay, oh, look, I have this! He's got the oil of slipperiness. That he'd gotten from random, what were they? They were uniform.
Yeah. You got it from the
Boxes of old uniforms at the stadium.
Yep, so he's gonna use it now. He'll kind of, you know, pour it on his stuck foot and gets out just fine.
Yep.
Once he finds that, but he has no fucking idea where to go. So he's just like, do you happen to see a large group of people that included a Leonin? They went that way, and I don't really know where after that.
Mom, what's a Leonin? You're confusing a lot of the tieflings here when all of a sudden you hear you behind you is I'm gonna say you remember him from the swearing-in ceremony last year, the end of the year where you chose colleges. He was Mistake's visitor at Strixhaven.
Oh, damn!
And he's just like, what was your name? It was,
Gary.
Gary, that's right. What are you doing here, boy?
Well, I was following my friends, and then I got stuck. And now I don't know where they are.
Your friends?
Yeah.
Including
Mistake.
And you just decided to wander off.
No, I got stuck in that rubble there, and kind of points back at where his foot had been.
Oh, right. Yeah, I knew the fellow that lived there.
And then I attracted a large group of people who, I guess, were surprised to find me here.
Well, I think they were just surprised to find you on the other side of that there wall.
I'm not used to seeing humans here. My virtue name is Average.
Hey, Average, why don't you clear some of the crowds here? I'll take care of this.
Cool, I can do that.
Thanks. Boy, Gary, you should probably come with me. I was looking for her anyway.
Oh, okay, that works. Sorry again. He just kind of says to all of the tieflings.
Stop apologizing. You don't understand. These people have never been apologized to a human. You've already done it twice in one day.
And that's a bad thing?
No, I guess not.
So then why should I stop?
It's a great question. Let's just get you where you need to be, okay? It's not safe out here for you.
Okay, that seems possible.
I really like the idea that the first step Gary takes, he slips because he's gonna.
I was thinking that too, like, is your foot just really slippery now?
On the way, I think Rezi will look at your arm. He'll get curious and ask, what happened there?
I don't think the full story is mine to tell, but I got attacked by some mummies and then saved from death.
What the hell's going on in that school? Mummies? Wow.
That one actually wasn't at school.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's good, that's good. Oh, Gary.
So, I'm sorry, your name is...
Resilience.
Resilience.
You can call
Okay.
me Resi. Sorry, I'm just a bit distracted because of something. Don't worry about it.
Are you the friend whose wife is acting weird?
Yes, might want to keep your voice.
Sorry!
Tacked like a hammer.
Yes, my wife is not herself, and that's why I have to see mistake.
Well, I hope, the wife becomes herself again.
I hope so too. And then we're gonna cut back to the room as,
Real quick,
yeah?
where's Lore?
He's there. He's with you
Okay,
guys.
okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, he's just been quiet.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like...
I have a feeling Lore feels very guilty about bringing 4 students and how everything turned out. Like, he's probably like, the less I say, the better. This is a
It
good
wasn't
time.
his idea, or
It
his
wasn't,
plan.
but he is the more adult, barely
He's the
there.
chaperone.
Yeah. As we cut back to the room, your friends are very excitedly telling you what happened. Oh, it was so cool, and then we fooled the gods, and then this unseen had this powder that made us very quiet and stealthy, and you should have been there.
I wish I was.
Are you ready to tell us now?
Tell you what.
King will ask, come on, seriously? You gonna tell us what happened there?
I rolled a perception check. It was a 9. I don't think Mistake realizes that Gary's not there.
Yeah, probably not.
It was a bargain.
Oh,
Save someone else. Do something of mine.
oh. King just gives you a tap on the back and a solemn smile because it took sacrifice, but he is very proud of what you did.
But I can probably give Resi his bow back now.
Yeah, probably. What else happened down there? And then,
Have you ever heard of Golwanda the Bloodspiller?
no?
Or Xandril the Executioner?
King would be like, there's a Golwanda Tower and a Xandril Tower at
Yep.
Strixhaven. That's all I got.
Yep, turns out, that big shiny thing in the Hall of Oracles?
Yep,
There's one of those underneath Redfell.
a snarl.
Yeah. Also, Golwanda and Xandril's remains are down there, and it turns out there was a whole other town here at one point, and Galazith Prismari just buried the fucking thing.
Holy shit! Sorry. I am so sorry, everyone. I'm holy pie. You went down there to discover a historical figure?
I went down there because I thought something wasn't right with this town, and I thought it might be there. Turns out, the Crimson Glaive was a real thing, and the Snarl ate it. Well, we fed it to the Snarl.
Uncle Oz will chime in here and say, oh, we need to tell somebody. We need to tell the Lord of Redfell, somebody.
The Lord of Redfell's pompous ass.
Well, yeah, but Vane the broker and his goons were in town, and not to mention all the other people
They
that
tried to kill us, along with Jarek and Dean Cayenne, who's, no longer Dean. Also, pretty sure Vane now has Auric connections, or he might have been utilizing the Cayenne's. Not sure on that one.
All the more reason to control the situation, otherwise they might go down there and steal shit.
That's a fair point, actually.
Laura's like, I can reach out immediately to Dean Simon and Dean Valentin. I have a sending stone.
Great.
Oh, here, Gary. Oh, sorry, Gary's not there.
Yeah. So I don't know he does that, and that's why we realize Gary's not there.
Has anyone seen Gary?
He was.
Oh, that's not good.
This is not good. This is not good.
Pigment? Pigment can get through a lot faster than Phoenix could.
Yeah, hey, Pigment.
He springs into existence in front of you.
You did so good. Can you go help us find Gary as well?
He heads over to the curtain. As soon as he opens the curtain, you see Rezzy's face and he goes, "What?"
Don't mind the ink splotch. It's a friend.
Right. Speaking of friends, I have one of yours.
Oh, good. We don't have to send out a search party.
Hi.
Pigment comes back and looks very proud.
And Gary reunites with the crowd. Some of your Mistake's friends can't help but notice the scarring in your hand, and then look over and see that Mistake is missing the same left hand.
Right, so, exchanges and all that.
Gary just kind of does a finger wave with his left hand.
Mistake waves it.
I imagine she tied the sleeve like in a knot.
Yeah.
Just so it doesn't flop everywhere, so she wiggles her arms, the knot just kind of flops.
Yeah. And Rezi will look over to Mistake and say, "Hey, can I talk to you outside for just a sec?"
Yeah, sure.
Right, sorry, everyone. Hey, it's good to see you all. He takes Mistake outside. The first thing he says is, "What are you up to?"
You'll have to be more specific.
We talked about something over summer break. You
Yeah.
come back home, I don't hear from you, and suddenly all...
The jail's on fire.
Yep.
Ground trembles. There's a bunch of strange people around.
I couldn't help but get an inkling that you might have had a hand in on it.
Oh.
You could say that.
You okay?
Why are you asking?
He looks at your hand. Because the last time you were here, you were not one limb short.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't one limb short yesterday either. But, yeah. Turns out there was something beneath Redfell. It's putting whispers in people's heads. Mostly humans, I think.
But not just humans. Right?
I don't know. None of the rest of us heard it, and that was 2 tieflings, 2 dwarves, and a changeling.
And how did it turn down? What happened?
We destroyed the item. The whispers stopped in the human that was hearing them.
When?
12 hours ago, maybe? Less? Something like that.
His face goes from concerned to confused. Huh. This morning your mother, Joy, said that she wanted to have a family dinner tonight. Are you free, or are you going on another escapade?
Nothing on the agenda, except there's this small thing where the 2 dwarves might want to arrest the changeling, and I'd really like to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh, goodness gracious. The messes you get yourselves into, girl. Well, Joy, my wife, is very busy preparing a grand meal for us. Where she got the money for this, I don't know, but...
Yeah, how did she get muffins?
This morning, she looked me right in the eyes and said, "Hey, go find your daughter. Tell her to be here by sunset." I mean, God's mistake. I didn't know whether I should run out of the house that moment.
That is weird. That is very weird.
And, that was this morning. Not 12 hours ago.
Maybe it takes time? I mean, all the humans in town just look very confused.
Huh.
It's like they were running around trying to find Sess and Indy, and they couldn't actually remember why.
You know, Average needs his roof fixed. He's got a good view of the other side of the wall. Maybe he'll try and do that later today.
I mean, I know a good spot on top of the wall, but it's one you always tell me not to sit on.
Yeah, no, don't sit on that one. It's not very safe. Besides, you could be spotted from the guard outpost. Come on, don't be an amateur. Anyway, tonight, sunset, home.
Yeah, I'll try to be there.
Good. And, feel better?
It doesn't hurt.
Oh, well, that's not something someone usually says when they've lost a limb in the past day.
Yeah, Levistus was kind.
Oh, God. Meanwhile, inside, Uncle Oz is like, that's new. Tyler's just staring at me deadpan. What happened there?
I don't know. I woke up with it.
May I?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It went in my mouth earlier.
Oh, soft.
It feels like a tail.
It does. Might want to get that checked out by someone who knows more about this shit.
Oh, you just wanted to gawk at it.
I
Okay.
did.
Thanks.
Now here, you can gawk at my scar. And he just lifts up his eye patch where you stare at his empty socket.
Damn. Yeah, it's kind of gross. Can I touch it?
Something bite you? No. What's wrong with you?
Sharing.
Have you given much thought about where you're staying over the winter break? I have a corner in my air sloop.
I haven't given it much thought, actually. I'll let you know.
All right. Hey, I'm always here for you. All right.
Yeah.
Don't forget it.
Yeah. Do you know somebody who can look at this?
Unfortunately, only one. And you don't want to meet him.
Go on.
He leads a very famous cult that starts with an O. You don't want to meet him.
I don't get it. Just kidding.
And Mistake comes back in as I want to say that the Silver Troves are still guarding the door to prevent Koss from leaving, because they haven't forgotten. They're still holding
Door.
The curtain. They're holding the
Heavy
curtain.
quotes.
Every now and then they pull out a watch, look at it. Bonkar has a hand to his belt where his pistols are. Vistra's like keeps looking right at Koss, kind of giving Koss the signal of like chop chop. We gotta go.
Ooh, can I do something?
Sure.
What I want to do is have Mistake hold a stone that's roughly the size and shape of a sending stone. As she comes back, she wants to talk into the stone like she's talking to someone. She's going to make it sound like it's the end of what she's saying as she gets like within earshot of them, and she'll just say, "Thank you, Captain. I know you and the Vice Captain would be distraught if the Silver Troves disgraced such a decorated hero." And she's going to like try and finish this like just like within hearing range of them, but acting like she's not in hearing range. Like she's trying to really pull off like she doesn't want them to hear this, but
Okay.
actually she does.
Can you roll deception?
So that's a 22.
Okay, yeah.
She finishes that statement, pockets it, gives them kind of a sweet smile before she goes back inside.
Fuck. Vistra like mumbles to her brother, and then they both like look over at Koss. She's gonna be like, come here.
I'll go over.
They like stand in the corner as you hear Vistra just like cursing under her breath. I'm gonna ask you one question, and I need you to be perfectly honest with me.
Okay.
How many of you are there? Do you know?
I don't. We don't coordinate.
Okay. How about in your household? How many are there?
Just me.
Just you.
You know how the changelings work. They, infiltrate and then leave their children.
Okay. Fuck. Okay. She is going to tap her mind, and you know that like when she sent a message to Fane, she didn't use a sending stone. Mm-hmm. It was something else. So she just like looks at the wall as everybody is reconvening and just chatting in the room. You'll hear her say, "Stay away from the crypt. Stay away from the temple. Deals off." And she gives Koss one last glare before she like sends a follow-up message like, deal's completely off. You mentioned any of this to my uncles, the entire Silver Trove clan will come after you. Bye, Fane. And she just...
Oh, how's he doing?
He's in pain. Lots and lots of pain. I don't think you could just come out of necromantic beetles just like that. You listen here, She, like, stares almost in envy at your friends. Am I wrong to assume that there's, like, a little bit of celebration of, like, at least we made it out alive?
Yeah.
Friends are out of jail.
They're still trying to give out granola bars.
Yeah.
This time,
Mistake will take one.
Yeah, Mistake's friends will take them too.
Yeah. There's, a little fire going and like the remains of the fireplace because this used to be a house.
Absolutely, everybody's huddled around the bonfire.
Griff and Oz are comparing scars. As they are looking at each other's scars, they recognize, oh, what's that one? Oh, yeah, well, this one. Oh, what's that one?
I was breaking and entering, and I fell on the bear trap.
Make it dance.
That's great.
This one kind of looks like your Uncle Olaf a little. How's his big-headed ass doing?
It's still very big.
Yeah. As this is all happening, the Silver Troves are, mostly Vistas, just looking around like in envy of like, you have good friends.
I like to think so.
Hell, I don't even know some of my own Silver Trove people that would do as much as your friends did for each other today.
Yeah, they're all a really good bunch. I'm lucky to have met them.
This is the only chance we're gonna give you. Call Silver Trove. Change your name, disappear, and we won't bother you anymore. Maybe you could have a new life. But if my uncles find you, and they will come looking, and if you lie to me and there's more to your household, they'll probably find them too soon. They're checking every Silver Trove, quote unquote, Silver Trove household. If you didn't lie, then you have nothing to worry about. But if you did, just know this is the one time we're gonna look away. Because next time, we're gonna follow our orders. And we're gonna do what our uncles told us to do. And we're gonna capture every single last changeling.
It's funny that you said tell me to disappear because I think that's what most of us want to do. It's when you go looking that you cause problems. Anyways, here's these back. Josh will hand back the manacles.
Yeah, they'll take them and they will head towards the door, giving like the group one last look of envy. Look after yourself, Silver Trove.
You as well, Silver Trove.
And they just leave. Never to be seen again. No, never seen.
That plot line is completely closed and never coming back.
Completely. Hello everyone! Thank you for joining us again this week. This episode was recorded in Watertown, Massachusetts, also known as the traditional land of the Pecosset and Nanantum peoples. I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of the talented musicians that helped bring this podcast to life with their amazing music. We've provided a link to their web pages in the description. I would also like to thank our talented players, Tyler Rubin, Rin Garnett, Michael Yang, and Nikki Aguilar-Thompson. This story would not be the same without their wonderful creativity. I've been your host and DM, Alex Aguilar-Thompson, and I hope to see you here again next week for another episode of Roleplay Radio.